Back here on a Wednesday, we're talking about the public safety tax, which is on the ballot on November 8th, next Tuesday, Election Day. You can vote yes to help the sheriff keep his office intact. We've talked about training and how important it is. I don't know anyone that's not talking about training, no matter what side you're on with this whole movement in this country about law enforcement, is that we don't need less training. The conversation is we need more training.
Yeah, that's the first thing they want to cut. Because they don't see it. Obviously, you don't want to cut a person. You cut the training, and unfortunately, it affects everybody, not just one person.
All right, so let's tie that in with the announcement this past week about this new training center, which is just a huge boon for Decatur. This could have gone anywhere in Illinois.
No, it couldn't have.
Okay, well,
we'll tell you why.
Fair enough. Howard made sure of that. But this is, I want to clear through some of the confusion. This isn't something that's going to be run or operated from the sheriff's budget or office. This is a state board.
Yeah, Brian, this is the Illinois State Standards and Training Board, which is the board that sets all of the standard and training recommendations and requirements for every police officer in Illinois. Very professional organization, great organization to work with. They're going to own and operate this. It's a little different for them to do that. They're going to work with closely with the university. But, training is something that, and I said this the other night, but I want to repeat it because people often think training is just a matter of money. Training is a matter of having, great teachers, and we have one here in Illinois that currently runs PTI, Mike Slosher, who's one of the best in the country. You have to have the right personnel for the training, but really importantly is you have to have the people in the office or department so that if you want to take 4 guys or 6 guys or women, men or women, and put them into training, you have to fill those slots. You have to backfill those slots. You can't just pull 6 people off patrol and take them to training. So when you start cutting people, you automatically start cutting training, regardless of money.
Yeah, and so this training facility will be here, and not only will local law enforcement be able to take advantage of that and be better off, but you're bringing people from all over the state. I mean, there's an economic development. I mean, I've already talked to developers, that are looking at that area of town about restaurants. You've got Red Tail Run and the golf course there. I mean, this is, beyond just even law enforcement and the original construction jobs, which you guys worked with local area unions and the Romano companies. So 70% of that's going to go to union labor. I mean, this is a win-win-win all the way around.
Well, it's in an area that I think has a lot of potential to develop. South Shores has seen some things, businesses come and go, but this is going to be, a high level of individuals there on a consistent basis. So I hope it supports some development in South Shores. It can certainly do that. And then, you're literally 5 minutes from downtown.
Right.
And downtown, since I moved here 23 or 4 years ago, downtown has really flourished. I mean, you can't find a parking place in the middle of the day in downtown. That's how popular it is. So I think, it is an economic development opportunity, but I don't think it starts with and stops just with the training center. I think we'll have an opportunity to bolt on different ideas in other parts of facilities over the years.
Yeah.
That'll improve it.
Now, this is there's going to be a 90-bed portion of this. And so, Tom, who takes advantage of this? You mentioned, I think, 4 classes a year.
And like you said, the basic training part of it is usually 12 weeks, but they're upping it to 14 now. So you'll probably see at least 4 classes make it in within a year, 3 to 4 classes. And in that time period, they may have executive level training that will, of course, go on at the same time. It's a large enough facility. This is a campus. Basically, he's building a small college for law enforcement. It's going to bring in people, of course, throughout the state of Illinois. It's not just going to help us with recruitment because we're going to be seeing the first people coming out. There's a potential.
You're going to have the advantage of hosting those brightest and those best of those recruits
and we're
right
going to
here.
show them what we have to offer.
Yeah.
And if we got all these different things that we have to offer that we have now, it's going to be more appealing to them. And I know that you probably asked me that question to begin with, but Howard rudely interrupted and decided to answer it. But besides that,
somebody else has to talk.
I know that. But Howard he hit the nail on the head. This is an opportunity for not just us local law enforcement. It's for a lot of other people. And some people have got a misconception. They think we're building a training facility for ourselves. We're going to run it. This is the way it is. No, the state of Illinois is going to run it. I look at this. This could be century or better. How long this thing lasts. I mean, it's endless. And what they're going to put into this facility it's a dream. It really is.
Well, and then not to mention, as I said, the upfront work that gets done. You got to have electricians and builders and contractors, and those folks will be put to work, and that money ripples back into the community. Now, it's amazing to me. Some people will say, well, why doesn't Howard just fund the $1 million loss for the sheriff's department? I mean, this is how people. We are blessed in this community to have your foundation call itself home here to Decatur, and the residual effects of that have been over and over. And in the last month, it's totaled up to $22 million going back into this community. You support law enforcement because you believe in the rule of law. It is not a philanthropist or a foundation's job to pay for a taxing body to operate. I mean, I know you support it and will continue to support it, but if you could address that, that's not your job.
Well, sometimes when I'm out on patrol, we've got, a new Tahoe or a new Raptor or something, and people will make a comment about it. Well, you got plenty of money, you can buy that. And it's, you never mention who did it, but you just say, well, a private benefactor provided that to support the sheriff's office for additional vehicles because his budget doesn't allow for it. Now, here's the problem with that. You can't do that forever. It's not sustainable, okay? So we put into place different, we have supported different programs. And particularly the drug, one of the things the sheriff started with the chief here is a combined, much more enhanced drug interdiction program. You support that, whether it's capital costs or the salaries or whatever, and you do that for 4 years. But you say in 4 years, this job should pay for itself. You should be bringing enough drugs, guns, and money. And seizing enough vehicles, and you sell those, and you do all those things like you would normally do, and those positions have to be paid for in 4 years. Now, you can't do that with every position.
No, but this is the same philosophy in which your foundation approaches just about everything that you get involved.
Well, we don't really like to do charity. Okay, charity doesn't solve problems. Charity is a Band-Aid. I hate to use that example, but it is. So you're never solving the core issue. You're not addressing the core issue. So, and we learned that the hard way, a lot of millions of dollars later, And so for us, it's an investment. So we can make an investment in certain programs in the sheriff's office that ultimately will be either funded by public dollars or even funded by the kind of activity that they're able to bring that money in from. We will do that. But, it's an investment in the community, an investment in the sheriff's office, and ultimately it's a public responsibility.
Yeah, but I guess what I meant was with your philosophy, you're not in it to fund something for 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, most of your investments and the things you support are so that they will be self-sustaining down the road.
And the training center is a perfect example, though, too, Brian, because that's a large capital investment, but we walk away from that when we're done. And somebody else has to make it work, and they have to fund it, and we have that agreement in place. So it's a perfect example, and you're correct. That is our philosophy.
Okay, we've got to take a break. We'll be back. Howard Buffett and Sheriff Tom Schneider in the studios. Here's Lindsay Romano.